Alrighty, it is now February 1st of 2020, and ever since the release of The Rise of Skywalker, a lot of fans have expressed different reactions, different feelings and emotions about this movie. It really seems to be half and half, where there's a lot of fans out there who love the movie, and there's also a lot of fans who either hate the movie of Star Wars Episode 9 by Disney. This is Mike Zero. Make sure to subscribe if you are new to the channel for future Star Wars content. Now, one thing about Episode 9 that we do know is that this was a very tough production for Disney and Lucasfilm to go through. Even Kathleen Kennedy, the president of Lucasfilm and the boss of all things Star Wars, even revealed that this production was by far the toughest production, the most difficult production of Star Wars ever since Disney took over Lucasfilm. And there's a primary reason to all of this, is that they went through a lot of rewrites, a lot of reshoots. They had far less time to work on the movie, to actually film it in comparison to The Force Awakens and The Last Jedi. So you can only imagine as to why this movie felt so convoluted at times, is because they really had to rush through production at many points in time. Now, with that being said, a lot of fans have expressed, like I say, different reactions about this movie, such as myself. I actually both loved and hated this movie. There's a lot of scenes in here that I rather enjoy, but there's a lot of scenes in here that I really do believe are poorly written and could have been done in a way better way by Disney and Lucasfilm. They really could have found different ways in order to make the movie a little bit more, I guess you could say, authentic as a Star Wars film. So when we look at Disney and Lucasfilm here, what's really intriguing is that since the release of The Rise of Skywalker, many fans around the world have been very curious about the future of Star Wars by Disney and Lucasfilm, on how they plan to develop their new Star Wars universe that will expand the Star Wars galaxy and will also deliver a new mythology as well. However, many fans have been very upset with how the sequel trilogy was handled by Disney and Lucasfilm, and that Disney is trying their best to satisfy the fans who had issues with the sequel trilogy films. Now, it's explained that during many of the interviews that took place during and after the premiere of The Rise of Skywalker, many media outlets asked questions to actors like Mark Hamill, for example, about Disney Star Wars and the handling of the end of the Skywalker saga and the character of Luke. Where it's explained that in one of the interviews at the premiere of the film, Mark Hamill revealed that many of his ideas were given by him to Disney about how Luke Skywalker should be used in the latest film, that were completed and that were actually completely disregarded, of how Hamill explains that this latest version of the character and how the latest film that were actually completely disregarded, and that his character originally was going to be used in a completely different way by Disney when Colin Trevorrow was on board as the original director for the original version of Episode 9 that was called Duel of the Fates. Now, in various interviews that took place after the premiere, Hamill stated that Disney wanted to only use Luke as a minimal character in the beginning, because if he was given the main character in Episode 7, it would have taken the limelight away from Rey as a character, and that with The Last Jedi, he was very upset that he didn't get as much action as he actually had hoped for, that Disney wanted to create a far different version of Luke for the sequels, as they were afraid to create a version of him from the expanded universe, because it would have actually caused fans to create a comparison for the two versions of characters, which is why they did not decide to use that version of Luke. So that right then and there, guys, like I say, I think it tells us that that is the main reason as to why they did not use the expanded universe version of Luke Skywalker in the sequel trilogy movies. Now, through the various interviews that were done at the premiere and after the premiere, one of the big ones of all had to do with Mark Hamill talking about why they did not use the expanded universe version of Luke, is because fans would have created comparisons between how accurate it would have been with the books and how it would have been done on the big screen, and so they wanted to create their own version of Luke because of that. To me, I think that was a big mistake, because I feel that if you have the right creators on board, they could have literally created the proper version of Luke. And not just that, the main reason as to why Luke was not the focus in The Force Awakens and or in The Last Jedi per se, is because they did not want to take the limelight away from Rey. Same exact thing goes for The Rise of Skywalker, and why we got so little Luke in that movie. So when we look at Disney's Star Wars, obviously they're trying to change their ways. They're trying to treat the Star Wars franchise in a different way. After Episode 9, they really want to make it up to the fans, and obviously it's one of the main reasons as to why Mark Hamill is said to be coming back with The Mandalorian Season 2 to really reprise the role of Luke as a cameo in his younger years. And not just that, there's also an untitled Star Wars project that Mark Hamill is going to be working on. Most likely it's going to either be an animated or live action project that's going to have something to do with Luke Skywalker without a doubt. So, not just that, when we look at Disney Star Wars, it just shows us how incompetent Kathleen Kennedy really was with the sequel trilogy as head of Lucasfilm. The fact that they did not want to use the expanded universe version of Luke because it would have created comparisons for fans. They would have compared the EU version of Luke in the movies to how he was used in the books, and that's one of the main reasons as to why they wanted to use a different version of Skywalker. So, with that being said, guys, drop a comment below. Let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.
Night to moon, we hear them moans again.